Hello and welcome to WCSU Digital Focus, where we are overexposed and fully disclosed, broadcasting to you from the Midtown campus of Western Connecticut State University. We can be seen and heard on Charter Community Access, Channel 192, on the radio at WXCI Danbury 91.7 FM, and on our YouTube channel, WCSU Digital Focus. I'm Vaughn, he's Mike, and today we're joined by Drew, who's going to talk to us about some video games.
Hey, video games.
Hey, video games.
Video games.
So, video games. Moving into our first one that we're going to talk about today is Bloodborne, which is a PS4 released on March 24th in North America. Action RPG style, very interesting looking, difficult, challenging, frustrating, but rewarding. Is everything that I've read about it, at least.
You gotta love a game that gives you a challenge with then a reward at the end.
Yeah,
If it was too easy, you'd never want to play it.
Especially
That's
with
true.
games dumbing down, apparently, these days.
Yeah.
It's so rewarding, a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it's definitely something refreshing to come to, and I think that the fact that it's on PS4, the fact that it's exclusive to that console, really gives Sony a leg up in this regard. Our next topic is Arkham City versus Arkham Asylum. They're being remastered and they're coming to current-gen consoles. We don't like the term next-gen anymore. And those will be out in time for holidays, which is very exciting. But there's no exact release day yet, so why not Origins?
Who knows what they're actually deciding? I mean, I watched some videos on it, and I like how the gameplay's playing out in the remastered version. I mean, it seems like they touched up a little bit on what they had, but I'm confused as to why they're not going with Origins either. I can't really say.
I don't know. The only reason that I can think of was because Origins wasn't as popular, but still, if you're getting the first two, you would at least want the prequel to come to current gen, I would think. What do you think?
I have not played them, and I want to play them now that I've been seeing
Now
the
that they're
trailer.
going to current gen?
Yeah, like I've been seeing, like, I never really followed it, then I watched some of the trailers when I heard that they were coming out, and I really want to get in on this game.
Yeah,
And that's all I
absolutely.
have to say.
They're definitely interesting, but I think that in this regard, Origins will hold you back because you would have to play it on a previous gen console in order to even enjoy it, unless they port it over later, which is always possible.
There's that possibility, but you never know.
Yeah. Next, we're going to talk about Life is Strange, episodes 1 and 2. I personally have played this. I don't think either of you
I haven't played it.
Yeah.
I watched a review on it, and it looks absolutely amazing.
Its concept is about a girl who can turn back time in order to change the outcome of certain events. It's episodic, so it comes out once every 2 weeks, I believe, just kind of like Telltale's games. But I gotta say, it feels pretty clunky. It's coming out, it's by Square Enix. I'm playing it on Steam, so maybe that's why the controls feel weird, because I'm playing on a controller on Steam. But I don't know, it feels a little off, but the animation looks a little bit dated too.
Yeah. Compared to like the games that are out now, especially for like PlayStation 4 and everything, it just doesn't look on like it's as on par as everything else.
Exactly.
However, I will say, though, the effect of the actual, like, the bringing back time, it's also a limited time. I don't think I saw any
Yeah,
specifications.
she gets a
on it.
headache if she tries to go back too much.
But it's just like, well, you hate lens flares.
I do hate lens
I
flares.
like lens flares. It's just enough, not too much, not too little.
Like baby lens flares.
Baby lens flares, baby flares, and just the way that they dissolve. Like, how do I say this? It just looks cool.
It does look cool. It's very interesting.
Granted,
It's like
when I was
different
watching
effects
some videos, you can only go back a certain amount of time, but you're given limited options as to what you can redo.
Yeah.
I feel like if they gave you more options, it would kind of open up the game a bit more.
That's true, but you also have to understand that this is a huge step up for episodic games, especially if you look at something like Game of Thrones or Walking Dead by Telltale. They have the option to go either here or there.
Yeah.
You can't control a character in real time. You have no control over the camera and things like that. This game does give you that, but in exchange you have a lower set of graphics. It doesn't have that same artistic style. And which is weird to me because a company like Square Enix, they have things like Final Fantasy. They have these amazing
they're really
things.
well known, Square Enix, for their graphics and how things
Exactly.
look. Just to see the game that they produce from that, it's
odd.
it's very odd
It's
to look
weird.
at.
But moving into our next topic, which is Assassin's Creed Chronicles, I'm super excited about this. It's more of a 2D platformer style to an Assassin's Creed game, but it follows 3 different assassins from other parts of the world. So you're looking at China in 1526, India in 1841, and Russia in 1918. So with this, you have this awesome art style. It looks like they just kind of let the artists from Child of Light work on an Assassin's Creed game. because it's absolutely beautiful. So the
Nice
first
reference.
one, yeah, the first one comes out on April 22nd for pretty much everything. So definitely something to watch out for.
Correct me if I'm wrong. That's also included on the season pass from, I believe, Black Flag.
That I
correct?
do not know. It's possible, completely possible.
All right. I
but
believe
I
I
don't
saw
know.
something on that, but yeah, continue.
Anyway, moving on to your personal favorite from this segment, which is Final Fantasy 15. You have the demo and you played
Yes,
it.
you get the demo from the first day purchase of Final Fantasy Type 0, which was recently released for the PlayStation 4. It's the demo called Episode Duske. It really shows you everything that you can do in the game. It's open world. You have kind of like a task kind of menu bar where it tells you where your tasks are in the map. Like I said, 3D world and everything. Everything looks beautiful in the game.
So that's still going back to our earlier discussion about
Yeah.
graphics. That's somewhere where Square Enix has stepped up their game for graphics.
Yeah, these
Currently-
screenshots that you're looking at right now, it looks exactly like that.
That's
Oh, yeah.
exactly what
It's
it looks like
beautiful.
in game. The
Absolutely
game is actually being produced on their Luminous engine, which hasn't been released or finished yet. So the fact that they're producing a game while they're still producing a game engine, really, they're stepping up their game for this.
Yeah. So do you think that it's more of the same? Obviously, this is Final Fantasy 15. There's been more than 15
Yeah.
of them.
See, this was part of a project in 2006 called Fabula Nova Crystallis, which was a group of all games consisting of Final Fantasy 13, which has been released, Final Fantasy Type 0, which was called Agito, and then Final Fantasy 15, which was called Final Fantasy Versus. It's completely different than all the Final Fantasies that have been out. It's not turn-based anymore. You control the character in battle. You have complete control of what they want to do, from jumping to evading, blocking, choosing your moves. The only downside I've noticed at the moment is you're stuck in a party of 4 and you can't switch between party members.
Okay.
But that's only assuming that it's because it's the demo.
Yeah,
you
that
really
could
don't
be a
have that
demo
much
function.
choice.
Definitely. So, yeah, I mean, we saw the screenshots earlier. It's absolutely gorgeous and definitely something to look forward to. Doesn't have a release date yet, but it's going to be coming out for PS4 and Xbox One. So
Yep.
it's going to be gorgeous. And then we're going to move into, since this is our last episode, instead of doing kind of like a what are you watching, what are you playing type of thing, we're going to talk about some things that we're hyped for. So for video games, we are very hyped for Arkham Knight, The Division,
Yes.
and Uncharted 4. So Arkham Knight comes out on June 23rd. Action, explosive finale. He faces the ultimate threat against the city, things like that. So you have Scarecrow returning, and also Penguin, Two-Face, and Harley Quinn are confirmed. We don't know about others. I'm sure there might be more villains. We don't know yet.
And you can't leave out the Joker.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Joker's got to be in there.
But definitely something to watch for. We're really excited about that. And then The Division, a Tom Clancy game, slated for release originally winter 2014.
I'm so sad about that.
Obviously, that already happened. So if you look at the release date online right now, it just says 2015, which is a pretty broad category. So it's rumored for October, but that can't be confirmed. So we're hoping.
I want to put my money on Black Friday because of the original launch trailer, the cinematic trailer. So what actually happens in the game, it's a epidemic of the flu, and it starts spreading on Black Friday. And by the way, just to wrap it up on The Division, the snow job engine makes Battlefield look terrible.
Oh,
that's
really?
That's all I have to say. If you were
Loves Battlefield.
if you were into a beautiful game and a first person, or actually, I believe it's third person over the shoulder, and an MMO.
Yeah, it's an
you need
open world
you need to check it
third-person
out.
RPG with survival elements.
And a 1-to-1 scale of the boroughs
Yeah,
of New York.
being developed by Ubisoft, so definitely
Amazing.
interesting. And then we have Uncharted 4 coming out some point in 2015. It was delayed earlier. That's going to be the 4th installment in the series by Naughty Dog. Interestingly enough, the original developers of the game have since left the project, and the developers of The Last of Us are now on the project. So that can either help it or hinder it at this point. We don't know which.
I personally think it's going to boost its rating, not ratings, just its appeal towards the game.
Yeah.
I've watched the whole 15-minute video that they have out there. Telling the difference between a cutscene and the in-game graphics is really difficult.
Yeah.
And it's just, the voice action is perfect, like the animation of Nathan Drake. I read a review where they said there's over 60 different actions he can do just for
Wow.
picking up a piece of grass or a piece of paper. 60 different motions for reaching out to grab something.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about how delaying games isn't good, but I think in light of all the games that have come out that have been really broken recently,
Destiny.
I think that that's absolutely fine, and I'm fine with the delay.
I'm perfectly fine with it. I'd rather
So-
it be delayed.
So we're going to move on to our next segment, which is Channel Surf. Hello and welcome back to WCSU Digital Focus. We are now joined by Nuno.
Hello.
Hi, Nuno.
And we're
Hello.
in our Channel Surf segment. So we're going to talk about some TV shows, starting with a show I know you love,
Yes.
which is Cougar Town.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us about Cougar Town?
Well, Cougar Town is about. It was originally about Courtney Cox's character. She was trying to get these younger guys, but then eventually around season 3, it kind of changed, and it was more about just friends, in a group and just drinking wine and just having fun experiences.
drinking
Yeah,
wine.
a lot of
Mainly-
drinking wine.
mainly just drinking
yeah,
wine.
drinking wine. Yeah.
Oh, cougar stuff.
Yeah. Right.
Just-
So the show was originally on ABC. It was canceled on ABC, but then picked up again by TBS.
Yes.
It's in the 6th season just ended.
Yes.
so-
The series finale.
series finale. Did you watch it?
Yes, I
What
did.
did you think?
It wasn't like the best of the series finale, but to me, of that show, it was a decent one.
Are you happy you got a conclusion?
Yeah, I got like a conclusion and closure, just to everyone, and they were all happy. Just happy ending, overall.
I'm glad to hear it. You never hear about that anymore.
Yeah.
So another thing that Nuno watched was the Derek special. Derek is a TV show that's on Netflix, stars Ricky Gervais. It originally aired on Channel 4 in the UK, is that correct?
Yeah, Channel 4,
And,
yeah.
So the special originally aired on December 22nd. It was a Christmas special type
Yeah, it was a
thing
Christmas special,
on
yeah.
Channel 4. And then it just came out on Netflix
Finally.
on April 3rd. So that's a bit of a gap.
Yeah.
So yeah. First impression, looking at this picture, Mike, what do you think?
Their sweaters on.
They have
I'm
sweaters.
trying really hard not to laugh at it. Sorry.
So the sweaters are definitely very funny. But what is Derek about?
Okay, so Derek right now, he's kind of he's like autism kind of.
Okay.
And he lives in a old elders home. And you have Hannah and Tom and Kev and Dougie, which are all like
Oh, man.
they're
The
friends.
whole crew.
Yeah, their whole crew. They're all friends and all that stuff. And he's just there. And then they kind of have like these small little adventures and all that stuff. Every time you watch a Derek episode, it makes you you want to cry.
Oh, really?
But cry because of you're happy.
Okay, so
cry
happy
joy.
tears.
Yes, tears of joy. Tears of joy.
So Gervais was nominated for a Golden Globe for this
Really?
this
Wow.
role. So very impressive.
Yeah.
Good stuff to watch.
Yeah,
if you're
and the
browsing
thing is
Netflix.
that this is the series finale. So
Yeah.
there's only two seasons actually.
Yeah. So
Oh,
there's
no,
two.
sorry.
There's
Go ahead.
2 seasons, and then the special, which is the conclusion to the whole thing. So that's the end. What were you gonna say?
Just like a small comment from a cinematography standpoint. I really like that very subtle desaturation from those screen caps up there. I just like that.
Yeah.
It just looks good.
And
That's a
the
very British thing.
Yes, it is. Yes,
It's in-
it is.
it's
yeah.
in a lot of
and to
British
me,
television
shows.
I don't like
Very
that it says
Misfits-esque.
it's a Netflix. I don't like that it says it's a Netflix original.
Well, Netflix puts that on everything, though, because if you look at something like Arrested Development,
Yeah.
that had 3 seasons prior to going on Netflix. And
Yeah.
then they say Netflix original, because I guess since they made original content for it,
Okay, then.
so they can say that, I
Yeah, but you
guess.
would say that Derek is not really original content.
True.
I'm sure it's in the credits
It's
somewhere.
original to the
Oh,
U.S.,
original. Okay.
so I don't know.
All right.
I don't know what their parameters
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
It's in the credits somewhere. Add it in post.
So the next thing that we're going to talk about is Going Clear, which is an HBO documentary about Scientology. It's getting quite a bit of buzz around it. John Travolta actually just spoke out about it and said that the people should just dismiss it. He dismissed it, just said that it's by a bunch of disgruntled ex-followers, and just to completely ignore it. So I don't know. I definitely want to check it out. I know that it's on HBO Go and the new service
Yes.
HBO Now, which launches on April 12th. Definitely something to look out for.
And every time I think about Scientology, I think about Tom Cruise
Every time.
jumping on the couch.
That's all
I don't know why, but
That's
I
all
do.
I'll ever think about it. It's interesting, though, because it sheds a lot of light on something
On
that...
Scientology.
which is something that's really, really private. They don't talk
Yeah.
about it. So it's very controversial and very interesting to see. And then Mad Men, season
Yes.
7 just started April 5th. This is the final season
Yep.
of the show. So definitely excited about that. I personally have not started watching Mad Men yet. But
Really?
I think I'm going to. I want to.
It's
just
fantastic.
looking at the
It's fantastic.
costumes,
It's
like it's
fantastic.
amazing.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? What are you expecting out of season 7?
Season 7, like right now, it's been great so far. I mean, after just
spoilers.
after just one more episode. But to me, I think maybe like towards the end when it actually finishes, I can see maybe Don like in the present day.
Okay,
And
so you
then-
think it'll get to present day?
Maybe.
It's in the 70s right now.
Right now, it's in the
Okay.
70s. Maybe he gets not to 2015, but maybe around like mid 2000s.
Okay.
And then you see just him as maybe like the president of the company, and then you just have these new, newbies, and then with all the technology and all that stuff, he's like, oh, what's this?
So,
I don't
Mike,
know.
have you watched Mad Men at all?
Only the first season. It would be from that prediction. It would be nice to see them go through his struggle in the beginning, but like with all the new
Yeah.
toys.
Yep.
All right.
That'd be a
So
big
now we're
choice.
going to we're going to move into our hype section for Channel Surf. The first one we're going to talk about is Fear the Walking Dead. Personally, I hate The Walking Dead. My opinion entirely. I don't like it. But the spin-off will premiere this summer on AMC. Brand new cast of characters, more of the same, really, in my opinion. So nothing new. I don't
Yeah, so
think.
basically, it's supposed to be a sequel of The Walking Dead.
Okay.
And then eventually, once it gets down to more seasons, it's actually going to catch up to The Walking Dead.
Ugh.
Yeah. But,
Okay.
yeah, to me, I don't like the spin-off.
Yeah, I'm not a
it's-
big spin-off
Yeah.
fan, except for Better Call Saul.
No.
Completely different. And then
This is a
Game of
different story,
Thrones.
definitely.
Game of Thrones, we have season
Copyright.
5 airing this Sunday, April 12th. We are so excited.
Yes.
I've watched all 4 seasons since like January,
Yeah.
so I feel really ready, and I
Yes.
haven't even had to wait that long.
You
so.
know nothing, Von Ryan.
I know nothing. So what's interesting about this season is that it's going to include spoilers from Book 6, which obviously hasn't even come out yet.
Yes.
So definitely very interesting from people who are book readers who
Yeah.
also watch the show. And then we have Daredevil coming out pretty soon to Netflix. I got to see most of the first episode
Oh,
when
really?
I was at New York Comic Con last year. I got to say, I'm so excited for other people to finally see it because
Yeah.
I keep talking about it. It's dark.
It's dark.
And I loved it. It's very, very dark, way darker than Agent Shield, Agent Carter, or
yeah,
Agents of Shield.
Yeah.
Which I think is awesome because I would love to see them take on a more mature audience with
Yeah.
this.
And you also
Ooh,
got
that Chiara's
Stephen DeKnight, which he did Spartacus.
Yeah.
So kind of maybe he'll be all the gore and
I'm so
all the
excited.
action. Yes.
It's going to be good. And then for other premieres, we have Silicon Valley and Veep both airing on April 12th after Game of Thrones, and then after Silicon Valley,
Yes.
respectively. And then Humans is another show that's going to be starting soon,
Yeah,
and I
so
know
it-
you were interested
Yes.
in that one.
I actually watched the Swedish version called Acta Maniscore, which
Okay.
is actually called Real Humans, and it's Channel 4 is going to make it in the UK, but it's going to be distributed in the US by AMC.
Yeah.
So it's basically like robots, but they're very human-like.
Yeah, it's like AI, which may or may not be human-like, is threatening
but they act like
society.
just like almost like real human, and it might be like a substitute of like the human race.
Oh.
Yeah, and they're called Hubots.
Oh.
Sounds
very
like
interesting.
Caprica.
All right, so thank you, Nuno, for joining us, and we're
Thank
going
you.
to move on to our next segment, which is Real Time. So welcome back. Now we're in our Real Time segment, and we are joined by Sam.
Thank you.
Hi,
Thank
Sam.
you. Hello.
So the first thing we're going to talk about is a movie that Sam and I saw together in the theater. It is a horror movie, and when I say saw, what I mean was Sam watched it, and I had
Yep.
my hands over my eyes the
Yep.
whole time.
I didn't miss any of it.
And I missed all of it.
Right.
But I still
That's
really
correct.
liked it, and it was called It Follows.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, I'm not even a huge horror fan really, but it's a kind of movie that you can appreciate the production of in like every regard and get something out of. And it's from its cinematography to its editing, sound design. It all both works in terms of being good art, but also true to the form of like 80s horror movies,
Yeah,
which is great.
absolutely. So the cinematography was unbelievable. It has a really like interesting musical score that brings back tones of like Hitchcock, and then also combines it with like modern like horror movie trope
Yeah.
music. The cast was unknown, which I really like in a horror movie
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to be I don't want to be
invested in
looking
the
at
actor.
someone,
Yeah.
that I already know. So which I like that a lot. So I could really focus on the story. The plot itself is really simple. But
you
it
can
works.
you can look a lot into it. It's on a surface level, it's just like its 80 horror movies that it's trying to be like. It's just like Friday the 13th or the Halloween movies, where it's just kids running away from a monster. Like that's the surface level plot. But there's actually a lot underneath that.
Yeah, it's
that
got a huge layer underneath that really goes into mental stuff. It really it draws you in. It's very good.
Yeah, it has a lot to do with like past trauma in people's lives. It has to do with abuse, and it's not just the monster itself. You could argue is very based in like psychological problems that people really have, and
Yeah.
it's kind of fascinating to see a kind of a kitsch movie. Like horror is considered kitsch, not really an arty kind of thing.
Yeah.
Try to tackle something really serious and
Yeah.
do it
well.
Very nice.
So there's that. On the surface, though, like we were saying, it's very just horror.
Yeah.
So have you seen any horror movies recently?
No, not recently,
None at all. Have you seen any Fast and Furious movies?
unfortunately. Actually, no, that's unfair. I actually was a big fan up until, which one is that? I believe it was Fast Five.
Fast 5 is not that good. So that does not surprise me.
Well, there's more from the same screenwriter if you're looking for more.
No, thank you.
So another movie 7 I saw was Furious 7 this weekend, and it was very nice, very sentimental for Paul Walker. More of the same, absolutely ridiculous,
Yeah.
high speed. I loved it. Defied physics.
I
It was
went
great.
in as somebody who's never seen anything from the series ever, and
And I went into someone who'd seen all of them.
and I was hoping I would get like at least something out of the action scenes, but it was they leaned so heavily into the character writing, the really bad character writing, that they spent so much time with that I felt kind of left out. Because there's not much for somebody who hasn't been invested in the series to really appreciate,
The
unfortunately.
thing with this one is also, and you might know about this, is that the movies don't go chronologically. They kind of do, but the second movie goes after 6, and then 7 comes after 2, if that makes any sense. So it's like 6 to 7. So I felt like there were a couple times where you turned to me and you were like, what? Which was
Yeah,
pretty much the entire movie.
Half the movie is a soap opera, essentially, where you have to know the past relationships and the past injuries that people had and who's alive and who's dead, and it's like...
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, it was more of the same. I think you should definitely watch it because, I mean, I know you
I would want to watch it just just to complete the story arc. That's about it.
Yeah,
But
you
I'm-
definitely, if you're going to watch it, you have to watch them in the order, which is, like, chronological order, which is 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 7.
And a short film somewhere.
And, like, there's 2 short films that go in there somewhere. So, figure that out, too, I guess.
So if you like bad things, go ahead.
Hey, bad things. So moving into our next topic, which is Paramount Transformers announcement. So basically what they're going to be doing is making 1,000 prequels and 1,000 sequels, and they're kind of taking the Marvel route, and they're just going to throw movies at you and see what sticks.
Yeah.
So,
From what I understand, Transformers series does really, really well overseas, like scary well, ticket sales wise. So it's not surprising, even though in America we haven't been looking at the latest sequels very highly, but
or highly at all.
it still makes a ton of money. It's
Yeah.
really insane how much money it makes overseas in China and in the Western market, the Eastern market. Sorry.
I think that just the monster movie and like mech robot thing in general is doing really well over there. I know that Pacific Rim wasn't a huge success here. It was like a moderate success here. It was huge overseas, which is why it's getting a sequel. So are you excited about Transformers?
Yes, I am.
Yes, more
course.
Transformers?
I actually want to see more Transformers.
Explosions.
I want to see giant battles of giant space death robots.
Okay.
I'm hoping they put it in the hands of other directors and other producers, for God's sake.
Yeah, give one to me.
Yeah, sure.
I'll do it.
Great, perfect.
Give her the money.
Give it, do it.
That's it.
All right, so past that, we have Mad Max Fury Road, a new trailer coming out. Colors look awesome. You can see the sky. You commented on
Yeah.
this when we watched it. The sky and the ground in every shot. It looks like, except that one. It looks like
A
it's
little
going to
bit,
be
right next to the headlight.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a huge summer blockbuster. It comes out on May 15th. Has Tom Hardy, Charlize Theron, Zoe Kravitz. Kravitz?
No idea.
It's Kravitz now.
Okay.
Definitely one of the best looking trailers that I've seen in a long time for an action movie.
Yeah, and they don't over-explain the plot. I kind of have no idea what happens,
And I like that.
unless you're
going
super
in,
familiar with the original content.
which I'm not.
Yeah.
So
I'm very digging the score, by the way, from
Oh,
that
yeah.
trailer. Oh my.
and the cars, just the design of it is really, really cool. So it's gonna be awesome. And now moving into our hype segment, we've got Ready Player One. I am so excited about this. My absolute favorite book, being directed by Steven Spielberg. I literally could not ask for anything more.
It's a great book. I could see it as being a very good popcorn movie. Like it's the definition of a good popcorn movie, I think, potentially.
And by the way, I never heard about it until you started talking about it. And do yourself a favor. If you have not heard of Ready Player One, go on YouTube and watch the trailer for the book.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing.
It's awesome.
Oh,
I read
it's
this book, I want to say like my junior year in high school or something like that. Immediate favorite. I've read it like every single year. And actually it came in a past Loot Crate right before this announcement came out.
That's
so
cool.
that's really, really interesting. So if you want it, I have an extra copy.
Well, I mean, I already bought it. It's actually going to be here
There you go.
You can
tomorrow.
have two.
It's so good. You should definitely read it if you haven't already. There's no casting or release date. The only thing that was announced was the director. So if you have a lot of time to read it.
Yeah.
But very exciting. I'm so pumped. And then
Definitely so.
Age of Ultron releases on May 1st. That's going to be the first summer blockbuster of this year. It should be exciting. We've got the full cast of the Avengers, as well as Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch and Aaron Taylor Johnson as Quicksilver. So that should be bigger and more explosive than the last one. Yeah. I'm hoping that what it does is it's a little darker, so it can kind of match that tone that Daredevil's going to have.
And I guess it might be the last Joss Whedon movie, since the next Avengers movies after this are going to be handled by the guys who did the Captain America sequel. So from what I understand, Joss Whedon may be done with Avengers.
It's possible, but they also said that that like Tony Stark, whose actor's name I can't remember right now.
Robert Downey Jr.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That his contract was going to be up after a certain amount of time, and his contract is up, and he's coming back for this one. He'll be back for sequels.
Yep.
So you never know,
Yeah,
really.
we'll see.
It's Disney, so. But are you excited about that?
I'm
You
trying to.
skeptical?
I'm trying to be excited. Well, this is all I'm saying. I'm going there just like for the other movies, like the story arc and the Easter eggs. Like, it's becoming honestly more of the same.
Something which we were talking about earlier was, I think Nuno read an article that said that there wasn't going to be an after credits scene, which I don't believe at all,
Yeah,
because there's
I
always an
don't.
after credits
That
scene.
seems.
It's their
So
hallmark
it's-
now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very, very
They have to.
like weird for them not to do that.
Just do shawarma all over again. Everybody would
Oh
be
yeah,
happy.
everybody would be
Just,
uh,
like,
just
literally
no
the
more-
same clip.
Yeah, no more
Same
Howard
thing.
the Duck though.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
no,
sure.
absolutely not. And then the last thing we want to talk about is Star Wars Episode 7, directed by J.J. Abrams. It's going to be probably the biggest release of this year, I would say.
I'm hoping Avengers kind of overcuts it, but Star Wars has such a reputation.
I think that, but it's going to draw in not only the current audience that's going to go see Avengers and all of that. It's also going to bring in that older generation that saw, that saw 1, 2, and 3 in theaters, that saw it, 4, 5, and 6 when they were kids.
Yeah.
So definitely interesting. One of the big rumors that's coming out is that there's going to be another trailer this weekend. Disney and Anaheim, they have their like big convention thing there. So we might get a new trailer this weekend. Highly rumored right now, but you never know.
Yeah, they're keeping a lot under wraps, so I'm curious where it'll go.
Yeah, Disney's very particular about what they release and when. They do that really well with
Right.
Marvel, and they've been doing that really well with Star Wars so far.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to be interesting. But yeah, I want to see it. You want to see it?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I really don't like the prequels 1 through 3. I even as a 10-year-old, I was bored to death.
Oh yeah.
And
if you don't, you're sitting there and you're like, what?
Yeah, it's all politics.
It's weird.
But the new one, I'm hoping Disney knows what they're doing, essentially.
Yeah. What do you think? I know you love Star Wars.
I am hopeful and I am fearful.
Okay.
That's-
That's honest.
Obviously, it's Star Wars. I want to go see it. How they're gonna handle this? I mean, I'm hopeful with J.J. Abrams, and
Lens flares.
that's all. Lens flares and the brand new rectangle dish on the Millennium
Yeah, there you
Falcon.
go.
It
Gotta
just looks good. That's all I gotta say.
All right, so
I'm
we're going to
hopeful.
wrap up for today. So I'd like to thank Mike and Sam, as well as our guest hosts, Drew and Nuno. Almost forgot their names there. Make sure to tune in next week for WCSU Sports Zone. You can always catch our latest episode on WXCI Danbury 91.7. Charter Community Access Channel 192 and on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us this semester. It's been a blast. This is our last episode. We've been happy to bring you all of our overexposed and fully disclosed news. Thank you and goodbye.